Alright, so today I want to take a first look at some brand new hatchlings coming out of the incubator. And this was from my very first dual sire clutch where I used two males with the same female. And come to find out from just kind of peeking in the eggs right before they hatch, we actually saw that I'm pretty sure that all these are coming from just one male. And that male was actually my bamboo calico pinstripe, a really amazing combination. And as a matter of fact, I think I hit two hatchlings with all the genes, the bamboo, the calico, and the pinstripe. And the interesting thing, when you mix calico with the bamboo, it seems like it's when you first look at it as a young snake, especially when it comes right out of the egg, it kind of has a lot of bamboo color on the side of the snake, and as it ages and matures, you'll actually get a lot of white coming in. Sometimes you get like a really bright white coming in on the sides of that combination, especially when you add other genes to it. It seems like the combination of the bamboo and the calico really stand out, and the snake looks better and better the older it gets. It's a pretty amazing combination. So today what I want to do is I'm going to pull those hatchlings, those brand new hatchlings out of the incubator, and we'll check them out for the very first time. Alright, so here's a new box of snakes fresh out of the incubator. So this was actually the cross between my bamboo lesser, which I don't think was the male that actually produced these, or my bamboo pinstripe calico male bred to just a normal. I just bred just to a normal. So there's no hets, no recessives. As a matter of fact, anything in my collection with calico is possible het desert ghost. As a matter of fact, I think these might be about 50% het desert ghost. So let's take a look at these beauties. Wow. Take a look at those. Beautiful box of baby snakes. Awesome. That's a beautiful sight right there. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is take some of these eggshells out. I think I'm just going to lay them to the side here. I think they all should be out of the egg. It's been a couple days, usually after 2 days they all come out. So, doesn't smell bad, smells pretty fresh. Wow, so yeah, that's this is not what I thought I had, actually. Wait a minute, I thought I had something completely different. I think I'm seeing a straight bamboo. I'm digging down. This one right here, I don't know if this one has calico in it. Well, maybe. Maybe. This one's pretty hard to tell. But take a look at this. This is Bobby's grandbaby. This one actually, I don't know if it has calico. It's a really low expression. I don't think it has calico in it. I think this might just be a straight bamboo on this one. Take a look at that beauty. A little baby Bobby. And my version of bamboo seems like it's a really high definition, like a really high contrast. And the cool thing about this is, look at the contrast here. It looks almost exactly the same as the contrast that Bobby has as an adult. So it really pretty much stays exactly the same from an offspring to an adult. I thought for sure that said, I don't know. You can actually see a little bit of kind of wiped out pattern right on the side here. But I'm seeing a lot of pattern on the side. I don't think this has calico in it. It's kind of hard to tell. The other interesting thing is I have a little gnat on my hand. Oh no! Oh, I fought those gnats for a long time. I thought I completely got rid of them. Oh, that's the first gnat I've seen in like probably 8 months in my snake room. Oh, they were so bad. At one point I was like hanging up fly strips and everything. That was kind of crazy. But yeah, I think this is just a straight bamboo. A little baby Bobby. I don't think there's calico. The more I look at this guy, the more I think there's not calico in this one. Which is pretty awesome. I love these bamboos, and I got like probably 60 people on a bamboo. So this one, yes, you just have to watch my morph market. As a matter of fact, I think you can sign up to kind of watch my page, and then when I post something, you'll get notified over on Morph Market. So I usually don't offer them up for sale until they've had enough meals and they're over on frozen thawed. just to make sure there's no problems. So speaking of problems, you always want to look for kinks. This guy looks like he doesn't have any kinks. You want to look at the navel here. Looks good, nice and clean. Good looking snake right there. A little bit squirrely. Is trying to get away. Alright, so I'm going to pull a name from my jar. We'll give this guy a name. Hopefully it rhymes with Bobby. I'll see. I just kind of randomly pull a name. You can change the name too. I just give them names. Alright, this is a good name. I don't think I've ever used this one. This guy's name is Boots. So here's the tubs that I use for these hatchlings. This is actually from an ARS hatchling rack from ARS Caging. And I just put coconut husks. I used the Pro Coco coconut husk. And I just mixed up a new batch. I've been going through a lot of this Pro Coco. With all these snakes, I just went through and changed them all. And kind of ran out of, it's always kind of hard to balance because, you know, I just mixed this up for a few hatchlings. So then you have to kind of be creative as far as using the rest of it up before it kind of, you know, eventually it just goes bad. Even if you don't have snakes in it, it just loses its really good smell. So that's kind of a challenge with a big collection, especially since I just changed them all too. And then I use 8-ounce deli cups. I actually rewash my cups. And then there's a 90-degree hot spot, a big panel that runs across the back, and I just clear out a spot so they're sitting right on the hot spot. Alright, so then I print out a label. This one is Boots, Caesar 922, my 9th Ball Python clutch of the year. Bamboo, Possible, Het Desert Ghost, and then I usually don't figure out the males and the females until after they've had enough meals and they're almost ready to ship. Alright, so let's take a look at another snake here. These are some awesome snakes. Alright, so this is the one that everybody's been wanting to see. This is the one that I want to see for sure. So this one has all the genes. Take a look at that. That's one crazy snake right there. So, alright, let me cover this up here so none of them get out. This guy is cool looking. See, if you actually look at the this compared to the males, matter of fact, maybe I'll grab the male. So before we grab that male, I want you to take a look at the sides on this one. This is how the other male kind of started out. As you'll actually see, it almost has the bamboo color all through the sides, kind of like a steel gray side to it. That will completely change. This snake will get better and better as it ages. When I first hatched these, I was like, what in the world is going on? It doesn't look like the parent. It doesn't look like the calico in there, but they really go through a huge transformation. Alright, so first thing you want to do is look for any kinks on these guys. I've had 2 kink snakes this year, one ball python and one of my baby retics with a kink in it. I also found out recently one of my baby reticulated pythons has some kind of a problem with its navel, like an infection that traveled up half the snake, and half the snake is black and blue, and I don't think it's gonna survive. I caught it pretty late, so that's pretty unfortunate with that poor little guy, which is weird. I usually don't have any health problems with my snakes like this, you know, with the hatchlings. So this guy is looking pretty good. Let me look at his belly button. I'm starting to think if I see something on the belly button, maybe I should spray a little like a dilute povidone iodine or something on that snake so I don't have to worry about it getting infected. I've never had that problem before. Usually, even if you have like a little bump or something on the navel, it usually just dries up and falls off. But on that one retic, I had a problem with it. So this guy's looking really good. Beautiful snake. This is definitely one of my favorites. I'll show you the male right after this one. The male that actually produced it. It looks completely different. It looks pretty awesome compared to this one. They can kind of trick you as hatchlings because they really change. Alright, so this guy's name, picking a name out of the jar. I got those names from people suggesting names, and I did a couple videos and asked people for name suggestions and got tons and tons of names. So these were all suggested names. This guy's name is Titan. Alright, so here's the male that actually produced that. So that snake will actually turn into this one. Look at how different the sides get on this one. Completely different. And kind of the weird thing, when you add calico to bamboo, you get these, eventually you get these really high white sides, and then a lot of times you'll actually get this kind of like a steel gray line that runs between the pinstripe up here, and then the calico on the side. And when I first produced this one, I thought it had pastel in it, but I actually produced one with just like this with pastel. Maybe I'll show you that one too. That one's getting pretty big. And that one's actually a female. I'm raising that up. That's one of my holdbacks. And it looks completely different. As a matter of fact, the one with the pastel, it came out completely white. I thought there's no way I could get a white snake out of my pairing. And then as it aged and matured, it actually started developing a little bit of color up on top. It looks completely different. But yeah, just for kicks, I'm going to show you one that's exactly like this, except it has pastel in it. Let me show you that one. That's pretty awesome. Alright, so take a look at this crazy snake. This is one of the craziest ones I've ever produced. This is actually, this would be a bamboo pinstripe calico with the addition of pastel. This girl is really crazy looking. And kind of the weird thing when you add pastel to bamboo, a lot of times the pastel bamboos will look exactly like the bamboos when they hatch out of the egg. And look at how much yellow has come into this girl since she's aged and matured. A lot of times your pastel bamboos will turn like a bright yellow like this as they get older. And look at what the look at what the calico does on the side just from the addition of pastel. That is such an amazing combination. I think this could be a world's first. I don't know if anyone's ever produced one like this. But yeah, that girl is really crazy looking. And the weird thing is she almost has blue eyes. And when she first came out of the egg, she was like this almost completely white snake. You couldn't see any pattern on top at all. And she had blue eyes. I was like, there's no way I could get a blue-eyed leucistic from that pairing. And I had no clue what this was until it was like a couple weeks later, and she started getting the pattern on the top, and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. And the funny thing is that the parent, the last one I had that I was showing you, actually I thought that one had pastel in it. As a matter of fact, I labeled it as a pastel calico bamboo pinstripe. And then I produced this one, and I'm like, oh yeah, that one doesn't have pastel in it. It's got a completely different snake. So it'll be interesting to add other genes into this to see what I can actually do. One gene I don't have in my collection is Orange Dream and Yellow Belly. Could you imagine Orange Dream and Yellow Belly and a snake like this? That thing would really pop. That would be like a super bright snake. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with this combination. Alright, so let's get back to our box of goodies here and see what else we have in this box. So it's always interesting because when I'm looking in the egg, I think I have one thing, and then after they hatch out, I'm like, I think I was wrong in that video. So it's so hard looking into it like a bubbly, goopy egg and trying to figure out what you have. So I was thinking, let's take a look at this one. This one, I'm pretty much 100% sure on this one. So this one is a pinstripe calico, and I was thinking these other ones were pinstripe calicos, but now I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure on the calico on these other ones. Oh, I'm thinking this one's just a pinstripe. I thought for sure these were all pinstripe calicos because of kind of the wiped out pattern on the side, but now I'm second guessing myself. I think these might just be straight pinstripes. Wow. Well, look at how different the pinstripe calico is. And then this one, I'm pretty sure this one, I thought this was a calico. Yeah, I think it is a calico. As you can see some of the red. Yep, so I think that's a calico. I think this is a pinstripe calico. I think these, I thought those were I thought these were all pinstripe calicos. Ah, I only hit one. I thought I hit three. Wow, all right, so let's take a look at this one. This is the very first time I actually produced this. This is a pretty cool combination here. So the pinstripe, and kind of the weird thing about my version of calico is you end up with, a lot of times it'll darken a lot of your combinations to where it almost acts as a dark gene, and it gives you a lot of like a copper color, which is pretty interesting. So just the calico by itself is really a coppery colored snake. And a lot of times it'll really change as it ages and matures. Like this one has almost no white on the side, and then it kind of like the same thing with the bamboo. It'll actually lighten. Ooh, look at this on the side. Ooh, we got a little paradoxing. Pretty rare to have some unusual, just random little blotches of color. Especially, I don't think I've ever seen paradox on a pinstripe. That's kind of unusual. Usually you'll see them like on your like on your pieds or sometimes on your blue-eyed leucistic. I don't think I've ever seen a little random splotch of color just randomly on a pinstripe. So I don't know, maybe it's from the combination of the two genes, the calico mixed in with the pinstripe, that maybe gives it more of an influence for some paradoxing. I know certain combinations and certain genes tend to have more paradoxing, which is kind of interesting. All right, so we'll take a look at this guy, make sure he's straight. Take a look at his belly. Now the belly kind of freaks me out. The kinks in the belly, been killing me this year on the couple snakes. All right, looking good. All right, let's give this guy a name. So this is a pinstripe calico possible het desert ghost. Oh, this is interesting. I'm not even sure how to say this. I guess it's I guess this one's name is Hakar. All right, so let's take a look at another one. So you may be wondering, what are the odds of desert ghosts in these snakes? That's a very good question. So I'll have to look back at my breeding, but I'm pretty sure the parents, the male that produced these, I think that was 50% het. So I haven't proved that one out to be desert ghost yet. So these are like, it's getting diluted more and more. So I don't know if I'd bet money on even a possibility of a het desert ghost. At what point do you just kind of give up and not even call it het, possible het for desert ghosts? So all right, so these two guys here. Wow, this is like one big mess. All right, let's take a look at this here. So these two pinstripes, I thought for sure they had calico. But if you compare them to the other one, I don't think so. These look completely different. I think it's weird because if you just hatch out one snake, sometimes you'll guess at the genes, and then you'll hatch out some more, and based on what you're seeing in the other ones, you can kind of narrow it down, especially if you've never produced some combinations before. And a lot of times I'll produce stuff that maybe has never been produced before, or has a lot of variability in that combination, so a lot of times it's hard to figure it out. But I think this guy is just a regular pinstripe. Beautiful. This is one of my favorite genes, the pinstripe. And the pinstripe is essentially one of the goldest, like a bright gold snake. I don't think you can get a snake that's, especially just a single gene bright gold. I've seen some really gold snakes, but you have to mix a certain combination of genes to get a gold snake. As a matter of fact, I think I might have a video how to make a gold snake. I think I made that one. And if not, I might have to do that and go through and see the different combinations of genes. But this guy's just a straight pinstripe, pretty sure. And sometimes the pinstripes will have like a really strong stripe down the back, and sometimes they'll be kind of shattered like that. This one almost seems, I know sometimes if you add like a leopard or acid or static, it really explodes the pattern. It's one of my favorite combinations although I don't have those genes in my collection. But like if I got into like a static project or acid or something like that, I would definitely mix it with my pinstripes. It kind of explodes it into like little tiny, even smaller spots all over the snake. Alright, so let's take a look at this guy. Make sure he's nice and straight here. Looking good. No kinks. Belly looks good. Alright, good looking snake right there. Alright, so I'm going to pull out a name for this guy. Here's a good name. This guy's name is Spaghetti. Alright, so let's take a look inside the box here. We're down to our last two snakes. So let's take a look at this pinstripe. Not calico, I don't think. And, you know what's funny is I've actually gone to reptile shows and sold some of my snakes, and on some of your snakes when they're hatchlings, a lot of times they'll get kind of almost like a kind of a pinkish color right along the bottom side. And I've had people say, hey, I want to buy that snake because I like the pink on the side of the belly. I'm always like, yeah, it's going to completely lose that pink because, you know, a lot of your ball python seems like it has more of a, you can't really see it much in this one, doesn't really have it, but in some of your snakes you'll see kind of that pinkish color right along the bottom side of the belly, and a lot of times it'll completely lose that. But let's take a look at this guy. Another beautiful pinstripe. I'm tempted to get into like the acid, static, or confusion just because I want to make a pinstripe. I want to make a pinstripe with one of those genes. This is definitely one of my favorites. What would be cool is if you could add other genes to that and keep a really gold snake with like a confusion pinstripe, and then add other genes on top of that where you don't lose the gold, because that's the problem with the pinstripe is a lot of times when you add genes you'll lose the bright gold color of the pinstripe and it'll completely look like a different snake. But I like the bright gold snakes. Just the pinstripe by itself is really awesome. No kinks in that guy. Let's take a look at the belly here. Belly looks good, no problems. Alright, so let's pull a name for this one. See what name we get out of the jar here. And these names, if you don't like the name, you can change it. This is just a suggested name. I'd say most people keep the name, I think, but some people change it. This guy's name is Peekaboo. Alright, so here's the last snake here. Let's take a look at this guy. It's kind of funny when you first look at these guys, it looks almost like a normal ball python, but it's definitely a calico. So you can actually see on the sides kind of this kind of the coppery color, and it's like a wiped out pattern here with the copper tone. That's definitely calico. And I was always curious to see what one of my calicos would look like as an adult, to see if it would be really high white just by itself. I've never actually kept one into adulthood to see how white it would get on the side, but I assume if it's acting like the kind of like with the bamboo, that it would actually, this guy's really squirrely. Look at this guy. That it would really be eventually a really high white snake. Let me zoom in a little bit here. It's a good looking snake right there. I try to move the container out of the way just for the kind of the white balance. my exposure is kind of freaking out with the white right there. Yeah, let's take a look at this guy. Looking really good. Make sure he doesn't have any kinks. Take a look at the belly. It's an interesting little black spot right at the bottom of the tail there. This guy almost looks, that's kind of interesting. Almost looks like it has, I don't think it could have het pied in there, but it almost looks like it has het pied markers on the bottom. Look at that. It can almost trick you. Those almost look like het pied tracks. So maybe calico can trick you into thinking you might have a het pied right on the bottom of the tail there. That's kind of interesting. You even got a little black spot right at the, right underneath the vent. That's kind of a interesting spot right there. Alright, so if you go over to my Morph Market page where I sell my snakes, you'll actually see that I pretty much don't have anything in there. But my hatchling racks are really full. I'd say I probably have maybe 85 snakes in my hatchling racks right now. So I'm going to have a lot of stuff coming out here and posting over on Morph Market. I just need to get enough meals into them. That's the big thing. And also you want to look under this video to see when it was posted, because I've had some people say, hey, is this snake still for sale? And it was a video from like last year or a couple years ago. I'd say pretty much all my snakes sell within 2 to 3 months max. So if this video is maybe like 6 months old or 8 months old, I probably don't have that snake anymore. If you're looking at it in an old video. If it's still on Morph Market, I have it for sure. I take them down as soon as I sell them over on Morph Market. And I post a link to Morph Market, my store, underneath every single video. So if you expand the description, you'll actually see the link under there if you're interested. I've had people ask about snakes in my videos that I hatch out, like this one. Usually I say wait until it gets posted over on Morph Market, because if something happens, if it doesn't eat, if I have to assist feed, sometimes it can take a really long time. You know, if it gets an infection or whatever, which is really rare, then I have someone hanging, waiting for their snake, and it's not an optimal. I'd say probably the biggest thing with my snakes is, I'd say 1 out of every 50, maybe 1 in 100, maybe will need to be assist fed. I think I had 1 ball python this year that I had to assist feed. So sometimes it can take a little bit longer to get those starting. Alright, so look at this guy. He is acting really funny. He's like, wow, look, there's stuff out there. Coming out of that box, seeing things for the very first time. That's a very curious snake right there. He's almost as curious as Bobby. Bobby's like that, always looking around, seeing what's around him. Really smart snake. That's a really curious one there. Oh, it's really interesting behavior for a hatchling. It seems like I don't really get a lot of them that'll do that. That'll kind of stretch out and look around. Seems like the retics, dude. The retics are really smart. The retic hatchlings, super smart. And they're always looking around for they're a little bit more bitey though, I'd say. They're really super smart. Ball pythons, I'd say, they're smart, but they're shy. They're not as aggressively looking around and kind of checking out their environment. But the retics, they're really sweet. I'll have to show you in one of my future videos. I'll have to show you one of those retic hatchlings. They're absolutely beautiful. All right, so this guy's name is Lyndon. I don't think I pulled that name yet, Lyndon. All right, so that's pretty much it. That was a pretty awesome clutch of ball pythons. So keep an eye on my Morph Market store, and I'll definitely post them over there. All right, so thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.